So a few months ago we did a lovely video on a different stretch of the River Great Ouse, and we got some great feedback. Loads of you enjoyed watching it, and it was just a bit something different, much more slow paced. We're running a float through catching chub on bread, roach on maggots and dace on maggots. And so many of you enjoyed it and got such lovely feedback. I thought, gotta do that again or something similar. So I got on the phone and I rang a few of my friends up, and I was asking for a spot where I could maybe do a bit of bait dropper fishing for perch or whatever comes along really. And I got suggested this amazing looking swim. Now, we'll look a bit more detail in the swim in a minute. I've just walked across the field, so I'm a bit out of breath, I'm not gonna lie to you. Got my kit on my shoulder again, traveling nice and light, but we're gonna do a bit of pole fishing this time. And I can't wait to get going because although the fishing's probably gonna be hard, there's a chance we could hook anything in this swim. So I'm really excited, I'm really looking forward to it. Hopefully it'll make a cracking video. Oh, look at this. This looks great. This looks incredible. Absolutely incredible as far as river swims go. Like I say, I'm going to talk you through the whys and the wherefores a bit more detail in a minute, but just look at this. We're blessed with a nice, it's a crisp morning, bit of ice about, a lot of frost, but it is forecast to get warmer as the day goes on. River's carrying a bit of colour, which is lovely, a lovely fish catching colour. Got a lovely bit of flow over that far bank, and then we've got a lot of stud water here. And it just, if I were a big fish, I'd be laid up here somewhere. So I'm looking forward to this. So let's get some kit out, let's get set up, and then we're going to talk you through how we're going to fish it, because it's going to be really simple, but it is going to be, hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to get a few bites. And that's what winter fishing's about, isn't it? It's not about catching, it's about getting out and enjoying this beautiful countryside. So let's get some kit out and then we'll see if we can catch some fish. Okay, so I'm just getting my stuff ready, and eagle-eyed among you will notice that I've got a ready rod bag here, and I said I was going to pole fish. Now, there's a reason for that. There's loads of these swims on rivers like the Ouse where you've got long walks, and the thing that stops you from pole fishing them is the fact that you can't get your kit, or the pole kit that we normally take, your box, your side trays, your pole rollers, your big pole bag, hard cases. You just can't get it there. I've had to walk across a big muddy field today. You just never get here with normal kit. So I've actually reduced everything, and I've got my rester box, I've got a bag with loads of me essentials in, everything that I need in here, and then I've got my ready rod bag. The reason is, I wanted to bring a rod as well, so my pole fits in here nicely. I haven't got loads of spares or anything like that. I've just got a couple of top kits, my cupping kit, 14.5 metres of pole and a rod. So I've got it all in here, and it just means that if I do want to move or I want to fish a different location on a different day to today, I can get there by making everything a bit more condensed and smaller. So in here I've just got my pole, I've got a rod in there, I've got everything I need for a day's fishing, and it means that I can actually carry it on my shoulders across these muddy fields. So just a little tip, that is, don't always have to carry loads of stuff when you go pole fishing. Just bring the essentials, think about how you take it to the bank, and you can probably, opens up a few more swims for you to try next time you want to go on the river. Okay, so we've got nicely settled in now, I've got everything set up, and I've gone for just a simple approach. I've set up one pole rig, and I've also set up a little bomb, but I'll talk to you about that in a little bit. Now, as I mentioned, we've got a really wide bit of river here, and over the far bank we've got a lovely fast bit of flow, and then in front of me is this, it's almost like a lake. It's like a big area of calm water, almost stood, backing up ever so slightly, but mainly just stood like a lake. Now I can imagine in high water this is exactly where quality fish would come and rest up just to get out of the flow, so it just looks perfect. There's only probably 6 or 8 inches of extra water on the river today, but there's still a little bit of colour, and we've had that horrible cold spell, so I'm no idea what we are up for today or what could happen, but that's part of the joy of this sort of session. I'm literally exploring. Barney, my friend who's put me onto this spot, says I can't remember the last time someone would have fished this with a pole, so it's going to be interesting. Now, I've just set up one rig, and all it is a 1 gram bulk float. It's about 8 foot deep, and I've set that a foot over depth. I'm going to fish lobworms, big bits of dendra, double and triple caster, maybe a bunch of maggots, big hook baits. I'm trying to catch quality fish today, and fishing well over depth allows me to keep that bait nice and still. So 1 gram bulk, that's tied up on 018 line, and then I've just literally got an Olivet and 2 droppers. And then importantly, I've got a foot long hook length of 014 and then a size 12 hook. Nice and strong tackle. I just don't know what I'm going to hook. I want to give myself the best chance of landing it. Now, bait wise for the pole, quite simple. I've got some lobworms, which I actually bought from the tackle shop because it's been so cold I've not been able to get out and collect some. But what I like to do when I do buy them from the tackle shop, they always look a bit sad, don't they, when you get them from the tackle shop. So what I like to do is get some old leaf fall and stuff out of the garden, pop them in a bait tub, put the shop bought worms into that and leave them for a couple of days, and it sort of rejuvenates them and brings them back round, and after a while they go all nice and fat and juicy again. So we've got some lovely lobworms there, can't go perch fishing without them. I have got a few dendras just to bulk them out, because if you do buy lobworms they're quite expensive, so I'm going to bulk them out with some dendras that I had left over. I've got half a pint of casters, lovely fresh casters, and I've got half a pint of red maggots. I always feel like a bit of movement in the swim with maggots helps pull some roach and stuff into the swim, which in turn will hopefully bring some perch in. Now I've roughly chopped that up into a little bit of a mulch, and I'll feed that, and I'll show you how I'm going to feed that. Casters, maggots and chopped worms in there, nice and simple. To feed that, I'm going to use bait droppers. I've got 3 different bait droppers. I'll probably talk you through the different options in a separate segment, but I'm going to feed with a bait dropper, and I'm just going to pick the medium one to introduce bait to start with. And then when I got here, I wasn't expecting that far bank to look so fishy or chubby, because everyone knows me, knows I love my chub fishing. So I hastily went back to the van. I got out my chub rod, which is a beautiful old bit of kit, an old Drennan medium feeder. That's got 6 pound detection straight through to a size 6 B983 hook. I'd love to link ledger it, but it's too wide and it looks fast over there. So I put a 20 gram running link ledger on there, and the pièce de résistance is what we're going to put on the hook, which is stinky old cheese paste. Now this has been rotting in the back of my van for quite some time, and let me tell you, that is pungent. And basically it's just soft cheese paste that I make out of blue cheese. It stinks, it's lovely and smooth, and I've caught no end of chub on that over the years. And I've got to have 20 minutes before, well, I'll put them worms in a little bit, and then I'm gonna chuck the cheese paste out for 20 minutes towards that big snag and just chance my arm. And if we get a bite, great. If not, we've left that worm swim settle. So let's get some bait in, and then let's see if we can catch chub on the stinky old cheese paste. Let's get some bait in the swim. Now I've picked 2 swims actually. There's a bit of an inlet to my left, and it's pushing in a little bit of coloured water. It looks like it is from the field, so a nice bit of reeds there, and it's the same depth as in front of me. So I've decided to feed at sort of 12 metres in front of me, and then the same distance with the same rig down these reeds as well. And I just fancy that. It looks really perchy down there, so it's one of them. Got to cover your options. And I'm just going to feed both swims with the trusty little bait dropper. So all I'm going to do, I'm not going to put a lot of bait in because it is freezing, or it has been freezing, and I'm just going to literally put a blob of worms. So I've just chopped a lobworm up roughly, and a few dendras, and then I'm going to put a few casters in there and a few live maggots. Now you may notice that I've got a little bit of pole elastic on my top kit there. That's 18 plus power margin zip, and I've put a couple of knots on it, and that just allows me to hook my bait dropper over it, and I can just turn the top kit, and that's safe and secure. I can ship that out, unravel my pole when I get to the spot. Best way of doing it, I found, and it just stops any awkward moments when you're down here and your bait dropper comes off and your bait goes everywhere. So let's get that out there. Double check that that hook's nicely secured in that cork at the back. And just take your time with this, because we're not feeding any ground bait or any soil or anything like that. We're literally using the bait dropper to put everything in today. I need to be super accurate, so I've got a far bank marker, and I'm actually going to fish with a pole between my legs today to be nice and stable. And I've got a lovely far bank marker, a big tree, and because it's such a small amount of bait, I want to be super accurate. So let's unravel that pole, and you'll just catch that bait dropper. Now, a lot like when you're plumbing, you need to wait for that to stop swinging if you were plumbing up and you just let it swing out, your plummet could be past the pole tip or it could be this side of it. Let it go, come to a rest. You can use the river as well just to slow it down. Let it come down and let it so it's straight underneath your pole tip when you lower it down. The last thing you want is to put your worms past your pole tip or way this side. You want it nice and accurate. So I've just taken my time and I'm just lowering that down right on my marker. And I'm just, now this is quite important, when you get your bait dropper down to the spot, because we're fishing such small amounts, I'm not big striking my bait dropper to try and get that bait out. I just almost feeling it like a plummet. I'm just lifting that float a couple of inches and I'm trying to get that bait to just dribble out the dropper. I'm not trying to spread it over a massive area to start with. We could do that later if we feel like we get a bit more excited, but I'm just really taking my time and then slowly lifting it up. Again, I don't want to spread the bait if I can help it. And then we lift it right up. You see that's empty. Now it's just a small detail that, but when we're feeding, we might only be fishing for one fish today. We don't know how it's going to go. We might only be fishing for one fish today, so we don't know how it's going to go. So we want to make sure that we're as accurate as possible. Now I'm just going to repeat that. Tiny bit of bait. Pop it around that elastic, like so. And I'm going to pop that in down this edge as well. Same amount. I am going to loose feed an odd caster and odd maggot over the top just to get some bait fluttering through the water. But most of my bait is going to be fed with the dropper. Again, I know where I plumbed up, there's a lovely sort of slopey bank there. And it just so happens to be bang in line with that. There's that big tree there, so it's a lovely feature, lovely marker. So I can drop that in nice and accurate. I've let it straighten up, drop that down there. And then again, just small lifts. Don't get carried away. We just want to be as accurate as possible for now. Especially with those worms. So nice and slow, lift them up. That'll be empty. Perfect. So let's get some cheese paste on, because I'm convinced there might be a chub over there, and it's a chubby kind of day actually. So let's get some cheese over there, and then we'll come back to you hopefully with a nice £6 chub in the net. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Okay, so I just fed them worms, and I've got to have half an hour with this. Lets the worms settle, and then it just looks so chubby over there. There's got to be one over there, and I've caught so many fish on the cheese paste this winter that I've got to give it a go. So let's whiz it over there. There's a lovely crease, and if I'm a betting man, there has to be a chub over there. Yeah, that's it. Feed it to the bottom, and then what I like to do is put a great big bow in. With chub fishing, it's quite interesting. You've got to give them quite a bit of time on the bite, especially when you're fishing cheese, because it's a bait they like to take in, and you need to let the bite develop. So I've got to get the rod really high because we've got this like dead water here. In fact, I'm going to make it even higher. I need to get over this dead water and get my line into the flow. So it looks a bit odd, the fact that I've got my rod so high, but eventually that rod will pick up that slack. I just see it coming together now. Right. Just sort of letting that come over. I just want to get in touch with my lead, and then I'll put some more bow in. So I'm just trying to get in touch with it. And you'll notice I've got a glass tip on, which is the most bright, ludicrous tip you've ever seen compared to match fishing equipment. But trust me, that's vital for chub fishing in this style. Now what I'm going to do while I'm waiting for hopefully something to happen on that, that's lovely and set that is now. Just ever such a slight bend. It's a 2 ounce glass tip that is. I've got a lovely, just ever so slight bend in it. And that looks great. And if we don't get a bite on cheese, I'm going to send a lobworm out, because it might not be a chubby area. We might be more fishing for perch and stuff, so it could be worth chucking a lobby over there as well. But we'll try cheese to start with. And if there's one there, it probably won't take us too long to find out, because they tend to give you indications quite quick, the chub. Right, we're starting to get a bit of bend now, which is nice. So what I'm going to do is put a bit of bow in. Take your time with it. Put a bit more bow in. That should be set now. It's really awkward because, like I say, it's like a lake in front of me and then that fast over there. So I'm struggling to get a proper bow into my line. But what I can do is do it slowly. So put that in, cast it in, let it settle, and then every now and again I'll put another metre of bow in. Because, like I say, when you do get a bite off a chub, what tends to happen, doesn't always, but if you do get a bite off a chub with cheese paste, you'll often get a quick little, like a little tap, which will tell you that the fish has either taken it or is playing with the bait. And what will happen is you'll get a few taps and it'll either go over or you'll get a drop back, but it can happen over sort of 20 to 30 seconds. It can take a long time for it to develop. And if you've got a tip that's too stiff or you're too direct to the lead, they feel that resistance and then they'll just not go back to the bait. Whereas with this, we're giving them time to take the bait and then show up on the rod tip. So fingers crossed we get one. I can relax in my chair, got myself a brew on the go, and if we don't get one, nothing ventured, nothing gained, and then we can get pole fishing for hopefully some perch. So let's rest, relax, and hopefully Mr. Chub comes along. Well, oh, a little chub. We've just been sort of doing some close-ups, and I thought I'll chuck the lobby out because no bites on the pole, and we're off the mark. In a very haphazard style, we're off the mark with a cracking little chub. Look at that. Not the perch we was expecting to get off the mark with, but who can be disappointed with that? And look at that, hook's right in the bottom lip. And that was on half a lobby, cracking fish like that. So we're off the mark, we haven't blanked. And it's a great start to our day. So hopefully there's plenty more where that come from. And it was a great bite as well. So let's get the lobby back out there and see if we can't catch a few more.
Sausage.
Oh, go on.
Brown sauce.
Yeah,
Don't
go
have
on.
to.
No, I will do.
Take one.
Just,
Both
okay.
the same. There's a serviette if you want it.
A serviette, you definitely. Oh, that's cracking. That's great. Right, so we've just had that chub, which I want to say came out of the blue, but it actually didn't. And I got a little bite off camera that I missed, and then I missed another one, and then third time lucky, it's gone. Big drop back, bit of a scramble. Got the camera back on, and I got a nice little chub, maybe a pound. And I don't want to jinx myself, but it feels like something is starting to maybe happen. The reason I say that is we're past 12 o'clock now, it's 12:30, and I've seen a big perch strike just relatively close in, just here off these reeds. And obviously we've had 3 casts and 3 bites, 1 fish, but the fact that we're getting an odd bite now. And I think in this day and age of commercial fisheries and whatnot, sometimes you can take for granted things like time of day and bite times and things like that, because you know we're so used to catching fish throughout the day now. But we're on a river here, and I've mentioned before the water is absolutely freezing, the air temperature's freezing. I've had to put more clothes on because I'm so cold. You know, most commercials at the minute, people are struggling for bites, so it stands to reason that the river's going to be tough as well, and we've got to be patient, we've got to be realistic in what we're going to catch and what we're likely to catch. You know, we've got a great chub to start with. Hopefully we can maybe nick another one on this. And I'm just trickling in maggots on that pole line, well, both pole lines. I'm just literally pinging out 10 maggots. Just regularly topping up with that tiny bait dropper, the smallest one, putting little bits of worm in, a few casters, and then just trickling maggots over the top. And I'm just trying to build a swim slowly and steadily. And I've got a funny feeling that if we are going to catch some perch, it's so cold that I can't help but feel it's going to be last knock-ins. I'm talking 2 o'clock onwards. I feel like that is going to be our best chance of catching a fish on the pole, really. So I just wanted to sort of mention that yeah, we're not catching loads of fish or anything, but it is a winter river. Oops, a little indication. It is, you know, it's a winter river, and it could all come together at the last minute. you know, you could bum and get a few bites right at the end. So we don't want to get disheartened. We want to stay focused and keep trying. And eventually, as out of the blue, we just caught that chub, and all of a sudden the spirits are lifted, and we're feeling like we might get an odd bite or two now. So we'll stick at it on this bomb and lobby for a bit, and hopefully we can put together a few fish. Okay, so while we're just waiting for hopefully another bite on the tip, I just want to show you the 3 different bait droppers we've got with me. And they're Nufish models, but that's regardless, by the by. The fact that we've got 3 different ones is the interesting point. Now, for most of my fishing, the small and the medium are what I'm looking to use on the pole. I feel like to start the swim off, the medium just offers a nice dollop of bait, worms, casters, maggots. Even if you could put a bit of soil in there, you could put all sorts in there. Just offers the right amount to kick it off. But then when it comes to topping up the swim, almost like when you're using pole pots when you're commercial fishing, different size pole pots, I'll have the little one. And that's an absolute little gem. It just gives you like 20 minutes fishing. You pop that in, enough to draw a fish or 2 into the swim and catch it, and then you can top up. So you can feed regularly. It's quite discreet. It's much more like, it's not going to spook the fish like the bigger ones. But on some rivers, the big bertha comes out. And like there's some venues, whether you're targeting eels in the summer or bigger perch, where there's a lot more fish feeding, the big one and feeding big amounts of casters can be really good. It can be really effective. So having the 3 different options, I think is a big plus. Now, they've got a nice hook-friendly cork in the back, so you can put your little hook in there, no problem. Nice and simple. Get that little elastic loop on your top kit so you can wrap it around there, so you can ship it out there, no problem. And what's nice is they've got a lovely little thing that opens up like that. And they're just simple bait droppers. They're hard to find in tackle shops these days. And them 3 little beauties will do you proud. They'll last for ages and they'll catch you loads of fish. As predicted, last knock-ins. We're 2:30 now, which is getting into the business end of the day. And the float's buried and we're attached to something good. Now, I'm not saying it's a monster, but it's a good fish. And it was actually down the edge. Fed that swim down by these reeds to my left, and it's buried. That's the first bite we've had on the pole. And it's a good fish. I've got the 8 to 10 elastic on. And I'll tell you what, oh, it's actually a pike, would you believe it? It's a pike. Taking a worm. But we'll do our best to try and get him out. Oh, I can't believe that. Thought it was into a big perch. But we'll try and get him out, because he's obviously took the worm fair and square, this fish. Blooming pike. Can you believe it? I thought when it was doing a bit, I thought, it's must be a good perch. We'll keep the pole high and we'll, you never know, we might get him out. So even though he's not the intended species, it is a welcome fish. He's took the worm, that has. Not a bad fish, neither. Let's see if we can't get him. Not a bad fish at all. This is the danger zone now. Look at that, he's taken that worm fair and square. He's right in the scissors as well. Not what we came for, but a bit of fun. Oh. Have a look. He's not a bad fish at all. Pop that on there. Oh, now all a bit flustered. Tell you what, he ain't a bad fish at all. And he's taken that worm fair and square. Look at that, he's taken that worm, look, right in the scissors. So he's really well hooked. That's probably the best pike hooking I've ever had. It just shows you, doesn't it, that they'll even, when you're jigging a worm about, there's a pike about, he'll have a go. I'll tell you what, he ain't a bad fish at all, is he? It would have been nice if it was a big perch though, wouldn't it? Let's pop him back. I'm going to walk him upstream and put him back, but yeah. a little bit of fun on a cold day. Certainly got me ticker going for a little spell, that fish. Awesome. No. Well, that pike was a lovely fish, and I'm very happy to see it, because I do like pike. I know a lot of match anglers don't particularly like pike, but I like them. I've got a lot of time for a pike. I must admit though, it did dash me dreams a little bit, because when that fish came to the top, I was just imagining a big 3-pound sergeant coming to the top. Not to be at the moment, but very nice to see the old elastic pouring out. Now, because of that disturbance, in fact, I'm just going to rest my top kit here. I'm going to top the swims up, both swims, because it's 2:30 now, and it's now or never really. This last sort of bit of daylight is the time, isn't it, when you've got a chance. So I'm going to keep topping them swims up, and hopefully a perch switches on. It feels milder than it did this morning. It's definitely warming up. It's not the predicted temperatures that I was hoping for, but it's better. And I feel like if I'd have done this in 2 or 3 days' time, probably would have had a great day and lots of fish. But unfortunately, the river's so cold, I just don't think they're necessarily feeding at the moment. But I still fancy us getting one late on. And as that pike proved, it can just happen out of nowhere. And I know it's not the intended species, but at least there's something hanging around. So let's top both swims up. We'll reach up the bomb out, and then come back, and then we'll probably sit on the pole then for the last hour of the session and just see if we can't find a perch. Well, the day has not been easy so far. I've just keep trying the pole, but not had a bite yet. And I really feel like it's going to be the last little bit of daylight when we're going to get a bite on it. But we've got another nice little chub, little chubbo. I've just been chucking that lobworm about, trying different areas, and it's chub number 2. And it was a great bite. It was just been out there, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, and that's cracking fish. Look at that. Interestingly, I've just chucked to the other side of a little tree. Just chucked up the stream a little bit, just searching the swim really. Just searching the swim, and then that little beauty couldn't resist. Look at that. Almost like a carbon copy of the first one. Same size. Very, 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 very welcome on a tough day. Look at him. Okay, so we are in the so-called witching hour now. It's almost 4 o'clock, it's 3:45. And apart from that pike, we've not had another indication on the pole. We've not had a little dib, a little nothing. I must admit, when I saw the forecast, when I organised this, I thought it was going to warm up much quicker, and it hasn't. And I feel like I'm just a few days too soon to have a red letter day or so, but not to worry. We've had them 2 nice chub. We've had that pike, which, you know, if it was a match, obviously you'd do your head in, but on a day like today, I quite like catching a pike. And if we can get a bite, just one bite, it could be a really big fish, could be a big perch. So I'm still keen, and this last hour might be our best chance. You know, as the light's going, this could be our best or even only chance of catching one. Now, one thing you'll have noticed is I've got a little pole rest here that I've sort of sorted out. Now, when I'm pole fishing with a seat box, obviously I normally have a foot plate where I can attach a front rest to, so I can hold my pole nice and still. Obviously with rest box, you haven't got a foot plate, and to be honest, walking this far, you probably wouldn't want to carry one anyway, because it weigh a ton. So what I've done, I've quickly I found a lovely little U-rest, and I've popped that in on a bank stick and put a towel over it to sort of increase the surface area, and it's the perfect way of keeping the pole still. I know it sounds obvious, but it was just something that I'd not even considered until I got down here, and I'm like, right, yeah, I need to create myself a little pole rest. So I've got that. We've kept trickling those worms and casters in all day, and I've been firing maggots in. So I feel like we've done everything right. We've been nice and patient, and we're just literally fishing for one bite, and it could be a big one. And I've got a funny feeling where I caught that pike, I caught it down by the reeds where I've been feeding, and it's the same depth. I caught the pike down there. There's that little trickle of water coming in, a bit of cover. I've got a feeling that is gonna, if I'm gonna get a bite, it's gonna be down there. So keep your fingers crossed for me. A few little tiny fish have started topping as well. So if we're gonna get one, it's gonna be in the next half an hour, I'd say. You know, we're starting to lose the light now, and there's every chance it could happen. But we've tried really hard. We've had no more bites on the lead. We had, that's a lie actually, I missed another bite on the lead. But apart from that, no more. So we're all out on the pole now, and we've just got to pray that that big perch comes along, or anything. Something quality comes along and fancies a little snack of worms. So we best concentrate and keep plugging away. I tell you what, I'm just gonna lean back, put my hands in my pockets. I'm probably gonna have another cup of tea, and then hopefully one comes along and we finish the video on a real high. Well, we've got I just shut the lead out and got a quick bite. I don't know if it's another little chub. Yep, another little chub. Oh no, stay out of there, you devil. They love that, don't they? Whee. 3 chub and a pike. Look at that little beauty. Keep expecting a perch to rock up at any minute. But who can be disappointed catching lovely chub like that? Really quick bite. I just took the lead out, just chancing my arm really, and it literally went straight away. So there we go, another cracking chub. 3 chub and a pike. Right, so we've just had that chub and light is going fast. The perch, they're just not playing ball. I've got a feeling that our best chance of a big end is to catch a couple more, or a chub at least. So let's go for it. There's a lovely bush over there, and there's a lovely bit of flow, and I feel like light's fading. We've got a great chance of maybe catching one more on this. And to be fair, other than that pike, the only bites we've had all day have been on this. Those 3 chubs. So that's what river fishing's about, isn't it? Sometimes you've got to adapt to what's happening. It's pretty obvious the perch aren't feeding. There we go, indication. So let's just concentrate on this. Try and finish our day on a nice chub, hopefully. I think it'd be fair to say that the day hasn't quite gone as I was hoping. It's just par for the course at the moment, isn't it? Until the weather changes, we're aiming for some tough, or we've been having some real tough fishing. And the fact we've caught 3 chub, to be fair, is probably a good thing, and that nice pike, obviously. And the good news is, as I'm filming this, the forecast is better. You know, we are potentially getting some warmer weather, which hopefully will bring some better fishing conditions. And I must admit, I'm itching to come back on a day when it's a bit warmer, because it looks so good here that I just feel like we've just caught it on a really bad day. So it hasn't gone over. I did miss a bite of the death though, which is so frustrating when it's so hard. You get that tap slack, missed it, fresh air. And we're losing the light now, and I just disappointed we haven't caught a perch, but we've caught 3 lovely chub. Now even that, you know, real nice fish on a rock hard day. It reminds me of old school river fishing this, fishing lobby with a bomb. And yet we haven't had like an amazing bag of fish or anything like that, but who can be disappointed with 3 cracking chub? We had that pike that interrupted our party, and then we've got 3 cracking chub like this. And we've, to be fair, we've had quite a few bites on that bomb and lobby. Missed a few of them though, so, and I think it's these smaller chub that are the culprits for that. You do miss bites off these from when you're fishing lobworms. So let's slip them back. It's been a great day, even though we haven't had the perch that we were hoping for. We'll just have to come back and have another go, won't we? So let's get them back, and we'll see you again next time on the Nufish channel.